Here's the thing nobody talks about. Anyone can look up the fire alarm code. You can Google NFPA 72 right now. But understanding how the code applies when you're standing in front of a 40-story building that's mixed use with 3 different occupancy types, that's where people get it wrong. And that's where things get expensive.
When safety matters most, precision, protection, life safety, licensed fire protection engineer, and one of the most respected voices in the industry, Wayne D. Moore, has helped shape how buildings are protected across the United States, a name trusted nationwide.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Fabiana from FireAlarm.com. I wanted to talk to you today about something that's going to change the way that fire alarm professionals work today. And here I have sitting with me is Stefan. He is the electrical engineer and president of FireAlarm.com.
Hey everybody, excited to be here.
And then we also have, coming in remotely, which is really awesome, thank God for technology, is the guy that we're here to talk about, which is Wayne Moore.
Hey, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
All right, Wayne, let's go. Let's set the scene for everybody here. You've been in this industry for decades. So what's the number one thing that you see going wrong all the time?
Misinterpretation and misunderstanding. That's it. It's not that people don't care. I know they do. But fire alarm codes and fire protection principles are complex. You've got NFPA 72, local amendments, IBC references, UL, and then you have real-world conditions that don't match any code book. So somebody reads a requirement, applies it the way they think it should go, and then the HJ walks in and says, that's not how it works.
And I see this constantly from the logistics and project management side of things. People come to FireAlarm.com all the time asking the same kinds of questions again and again, not because they're not smart, but because the code can be genuinely hard to interpret. I even have trouble with this. The information is out there, but the right interpretation is lacking, and that's been the bottleneck.
And now that's the thing that costs money, right? Not the actual equipment, but the rework of it all, which is wild. So failed inspections, the redesigns, and all of the delays in this industry.
Exactly. All because the original interpretation was off. Not the intent, but the interpretation.
And see, that's the gap. So now let's talk about what FireAlarm.com and Wayne have created to fill in with the introduction of FireAlarm.com AI.
FireAlarm AI is, at its core, a tool that answers fire alarm questions the way I would answer them. And I don't mean that loosely. This AI model was built on the foundation of my knowledge, my interpretations, my decades of field work, design review, and code analysis. When you ask FireAlarm AI a question, you're getting my perspective.
Okay, so I got to push on this a little bit. So I've used AI tools before, and they sound awesome and they work great, but what if the answer is flat out wrong? Because that sometimes happens to me half the time. So in our industry, wrong doesn't mean a misunderstanding or anything like that. Like this could be dangerous. So where's the difference in that?
That's the right question to ask. The difference is context. A general AI tool doesn't understand that NFPA 72, Chapter 17, and Chapter 14, for example, don't always agree the way you'd expect. It doesn't know that a local AHJ might interpret a requirement completely differently from what's written. I do. And that's what's built into this.
And that's exactly why we've partnered with Wayne on this. When we looked at bringing AI into FireAlarm.com, the first question was, whose knowledge do we trust enough to put in front of our entire community, essentially in front of our entire industry? And honestly, Wayne, you were the clear answer. This entire thing is powered by Wayne, and that's not even just a tagline. It's literally how this thing is functioning.
That's kind of wild to think about. Because most of us, we've got questions or two in the morning, we'll be having an inspection going on or something very important that day, and we can't just Google it and hoping for the best. That we can't do that in this industry. So we're basically being able to just access you, Wayne, which is so awesome. Just right in the morning, Bob, let me ask Wayne what's going on this fire inspection today. So cool.
That's exactly it. 2 in the morning, Saturday afternoon, doesn't matter. You ask, it answers with the same depth I'd give you if you called me. And of course, we welcome every question, especially the ones we haven't thought of yet. That's how this database grows.
That's so cool. So, you know what? Let's see this thing in action. So awesome. So I've got it. So we go to firealarm.com plus, and I'll pull it up right here, right? So firealarm.com AI is open. So let me think of something real to ask it. All right. So here's a question. And we actually dealt with this not too long ago before. So I'm going to type, is it ever acceptable to paint detectors? Look at that. It's not saying no, but it's actually explaining why. So you have the UL listing, you have the do not paint labels, you have the fact that the AHJ allows it in special circumstances, and you even need proper documentation to back it up. Wayne, why do you think that it's right?
That's exactly how I walk someone through it. See how it doesn't give you just a flat no. It tells you where the rule comes from, what the exceptions look like, and what documentation you need if you're going to push for one. That's what matters, because if you're on a job and the owner or the architect says, just paint it, you need to know exactly why you can't and what happens if you do.
Wow, that's crazy. So that's the thing, that it's not just telling me, like, don't paint it. It's telling me and giving me, like, what if I picked up the phone and I just decided to call Wayne and ask what would happen in this situation, which is really awesome.
And Wayne, if you remember during development, I know that we'd look at answers and go, that doesn't seem right.
In the early stages, absolutely. That's part of the process. You refine it, correct it, feed it better context. Something like this paint question, for example, early on, it might have just said, no, you can't paint detectors and left it there. Now it walks you through the why, the exceptions, and the documentations, thanks to the database of my knowledge. That's where the value is.
That is so cool. So let's talk about who this is actually for, because I think some people hear AI and they think, oh, this is only for the super techie people, right? That's not right. So what is it about?
Yeah, and we had the same, I think, thoughts creating this. It's definitely for the technician that's on a job site who needs a quick answer before pulling wire. But I think even more importantly, it's for designers submitting at midnight who need to double check their notification appliance layout. But it's definitely also for the AHJ who wants a second opinion on a design that they're reviewing. That's probably definitely key. It's for anyone in the fire alarm and life safety industry who wants better answers and faster.
Now, but like, what about the newer people, like the newer folks? Like, because I remember when I started out and not knowing about a bunch of questions when it came to the fire alarm industry and everything. So where, like, where do you even find the answers?
Yeah, and that's honestly one of my favorite use cases because obviously the AI doesn't judge you for asking a basic question. You can literally say, explain this question to me like I'm brand new to the field, and it will. That's not always what you get when you call a senior tech who's busy and in the middle of a job or, just someone that doesn't have time for you. And from our side at firealarm.com, that's been a huge focus, making knowledge accessible at every level, no matter where you are in your fire alarm path. We've got the training, the forums, the community, and now AI with Wayne sit alongside all that. And, we're definitely not here to replace experienced people. It's giving everyone a better starting point.
Exactly. The best professionals will still use their judgment. This just gives them a reliable starting point. Think of it as a good second opinion that's always available.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about codes and inspections and rework and this money that's all the time involved in all of this, because that's the most important thing about this. But, we need to take a second to talk about what's really at stake here, because it's not just about, passing an inspection. Like Wayne, like all three of us, we know that this stuff, if it goes wrong, like people's lives are at stake here. And there's several cases where I think that everyone in this industry should know about this type of thing.
Yeah.
One that stands out for me is the Station nightclub fire. February 20th of this year was the 23rd anniversary of that fire. And for our audience who care to read about the follow-up and investigation of the fire, they can read the book Killer Show by John Berilick.
Yeah, wild. February 2003, a rock band called the Great White was performing at the Station nightclub. That's what this whole thing's all about, in West Warwick, Rhode Island. And there were a ton of locals there that night, which is like extremely crazy when you go and research this story.
What happened was straightforward, and that's what makes it so devastating. The band's tour manager set off indoor pyrotechnics as part of the show. The sparks hit flammable polyurethane foam that had been installed on the walls and ceiling as soundproofing. That material ignited unbelievably fast. Within minutes, the ceiling was burning. The smoke turned toxic, visibility dropped to near zero, and the main exit became completely jammed.
My goodness. Literally over 100 people died, right? Like, and hundreds more were even injured in this whole thing. And now the whole thing is, what's crazy is that this was preventable, right?
It was preventable, every piece of it. The foam was not fire rated. The pyrotechnics were not approved for that space. The exit capacity was inadequate for the occupancy. The building didn't have a sprinkler system. These are not unique failures. This is a fire, a large crowd, bad installation materials, and poor exit flow. Many old school principles were not followed, which cost 100 lives.
And what came after were criminal charges, lawsuits, major changes to fire codes and inspection requirements, how venues manage pyrotechnics, and interior finishes specifications. A lot of the standards that exist today were literally shaped directly by what happened that night.
And that's the whole thing about this, is that we only do this after something big like this happens. And that's not okay. That's what I want to land on. When we talk about having access to reliable fire safety information, this is why. It's not abstract. It's not just about compliance. It's not about passing a test. This is people's lives, and we need to save these people in the spaces that they're in.
And that's what drives this. It's not about technology for the sake of technology. It's about making sure the right information is available to the people who need it, when they need it. Because we've seen what it looks like with the consequences of not having it.
Yeah. So where does it go from here? What's the bigger picture here?
I've spent my whole career trying to help make this industry better. And the bottleneck has always been accessing good information. There are thousands of talented fire alarm professionals out there who care about what they do, but they don't have a Wayne to call. They don't have a mentor down the hall. This tool changes that. It scales what I know to everyone who needs it. And honestly, that's what gets me excited about it.
Yep. When Wayne and I first started talking about this, it was clear right away that our vision was the same. FireAlarm.com already has the largest community of fire alarm professionals out there, from our training, forums, and resources. And adding Wayne's knowledge and expertise into our ecosystem means people can learn, ask questions, and get reliable answers all in one place. It's a natural fit.
This is so awesome, guys. Like, I'm so excited about this, and then the whole thing is like, how do you guys see this evolving, right? We're going like a year from now, like, what does this look like?
More depth, more specificity. We keep feeding it, keep refining it. I want this to handle jurisdiction-specific questions, project-specific scenarios, and granular details. The foundation is solid. Now we build on it. Send your future questions directly to me via email at ai@firealarm.com.
So let's say that one again, just so you guys know. So it's ai@firealarm.com. That's where you're going to check out any questions that you have, and you can do that directly to that email. And so if you're watching this, go check out FireAlarm AI now yourself, because it's live. And it's really awesome, and you'll love it. Now, if you are a member, you'll easily go in there and you just sign in and you're good. You can go ask your questions. If you're not, just sign up quick and everything's there. There's a how-to video. Check that out, definitely. And just so you know, check out firealarm.com plus, because that's what's coming in. Join that wait list, because you definitely don't want to be not part of that. Stefan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, it's just that we're extremely proud of this one, and we're beyond grateful to be working on this with the legendary Wayne Moore. This is the kind of tool we've wanted to bring to this industry and community for a long time, and having Wayne's knowledge behind it makes all the difference. So we implore you to go try it now.
This is so cool. I'm telling you, it's really awesome. I played with it a bunch. So Wayne, do you have anything you want to say and add?
Try it. Ask it something you'd normally spend an hour researching. I think you'll be surprised. And I implore people to ask us questions and information that is not present or is not clear. Just send it over to ai@firealarm.com, and I will get in touch with you to answer you as soon as possible.
Well, that's cool because you get to talk to Wayne right away. I'm telling you, it's really awesome. All right, everyone. So don't forget, subscribe, hit that follow button, and share with someone in the industry or even outside the industry, because what's coming at you is really awesome and you definitely want to be a part of it. Catch you next time.